In September, the ABC aired a program it called The School That Tried to End Racism. Now, the program featured 10 and 11-year-old students undergoing racial awareness exercises to learn about white privilege. Here's a clip.
So Banderi and I are going to ask you a series of questions. If the question relates to you, we'll either ask you to step forward or step back on the line. So you know, the positions you end up in will be your starting position for a running race. So whoever's going to end up in front, they're going to have a really great advantage in this race. So just keep that in mind as you're answering these questions. Who won?
James.
James won. Can we have a huge round of applause for Alan?
Yay!
The idea that we all learnt there was something called white privilege, that society in Australia gives preferential treatment to people with lighter skin or a certain cultural background, and it really doesn't have much to do with anything they've done. It's purely your cultural background and the colour of your skin that means where you start in life is often really different to those with a different cultural background.
Now, this was just one of numerous segments which were dripping in the controversial and debunked left-wing doctrine of critical race theory, or CRT. CRT asserts that society is from top to bottom, in all its institutions, laws and practices, racist. Why? Because it was created by white men to oppress racial minorities. Now, does that sound like the Australia you know? Because it doesn't to me. It sounds like a lot of nonsense using your money. Watch as I ask the ABC's Managing Director all about this and why the ABC is doing it.
On the 21st of September, there was a documentary series called The School That Tried to End Racism. And there were 4 episodes. 10 and 11-year-old students were undergo various racial awareness exercises to learn about white privilege, implicit bias and stereotyping. The second episode focused on systemic racism in Australia. The third, separating students into what were known as affinity groups. And I think the fourth talked about issues of racism or thereabouts. Now, I want to ask you this. Is it the ABC's position that Australia needs this sort of television program because it's a racist country?
Senator, look, I think, my position is that, look, I'm quite proud to be Australian. I think Australia is one of the most successful multicultural countries in the world. But that said, that doesn't mean that we're not without our problems. And yes, I do think racism does exist in this country. I think we're much better than many other countries across the world, and I think any society can improve. I think there's many things I can quote to you on notice that would otherwise suggest that we do have racism in our country. That's come from either our own survey on Australia Talks, from other research that has happened, and I think that what the program tried to do in a very responsible and controlled way, with parents' participation and being part of the project, was allow kids in schools to have a conversation around race, and I think the aim of the program was really to celebrate our differences that we have in our community.
In one episode, a student proclaims that all Australian politicians are white, in which an astute teacher responds, yet before the episode launches into a scathing critique of Australia's lack of diversity in federal parliament. Really, this is just the ABC pushing critical race theory, isn't it?
No, I would say no, we are not pushing race theory at all. No, I don't think. I think, race theory is often misunderstood and misrepresented academic theory that highlights the systemic and institutional nature of racism. And I don't think that by that definition, this is what this program was doing.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, the program does look at systemic racism, but okay.
Thank you.